Okay guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a simple theory using a humbug. So we all know what a humbug is. It's a sweet. So I'm going to take you through a simple nutrition tip, hack, theory, whatever you want to call it, about how to eat less calories. Because remember, it's all about, for fat loss, it's all about creating an energy deficit. So calories in versus calories out. Now, it doesn't matter how good your diet is, you can overeat on chicken and broccoli. Okay, you can overeat on good stuff just as much as you can overeat on bad stuff. So the first priority is making sure that your calories are on point. So if you're looking to lose fat, we need to be in a calorie deficit. If you're looking to gain muscle, we're looking for a calorie surplus. But the purpose of this video is for losing fat, guys. So it's the one thing that most of us are struggling with and what most of us want. So a lot of the time you're told to stop eating any shit. And I say that. I say eat less shit, move more. But what I don't say is I don't say stop eating shit. I don't say that. I say eat less shit. So instead of stopping and trying to thinking that you're deprived, and imagine when you're told that you can't have something. It's like when you're in a restaurant and the waiter brings out the plate and he says, don't touch the plate, it's hot. What's the first thing that you do? You touch the plate. You want to see how hot it is. See, as humans, we don't like to have rules. We don't like to be told what to do. And then when you're being told by a certain diet or a certain person, you can't have this, you can't have that, then all it makes us do is it wants it even more. So instead of saying you can't have that, that's no longer available to you, maybe just look for a substitute. Maybe just look for a substitute. So one of the substitutes that I've used, and now I'm not saying that this is directly the most healthy thing in the world, but what I'm saying to you is it's a better way of taking less calories and giving you a little bit of a sugar rush that you crave. See, you've got to progressively do things. It's got to be a progression. Because remember, we didn't get fat overnight. We didn't get unhealthy overnight. We didn't get unhappy overnight. It was a progressive day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, overeating progressively. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to reverse engineer how we became fat. So what we need to do is we need to take things slow. Now, the only thing that we don't like about slow is the fact that it's unsexy. No one wants to hear about the slowest way to lose 10 pounds. No one wants to hear about that. We want to hear about the fastest way to lose 10 pounds. But is the fastest way always the most successful way? Maybe not, because the reason why people can't sustain big diet transformations is because they feel that they're so restricted. So they're restricted in the amount they can eat. They're restricted in the quality they can eat. They're restricted in like the treats and things that they used to have that they now supposedly can't have. So I'm just going to use a humbug, guys, because this is one of the things that I've used in the past and I occasionally still use. So let's think about it. So say you fancy something sugary. And that usually happens when we've got low blood sugar levels, because usually for me, I never crave any sugary foods first thing in the morning. I don't wake up and think, right, I want a chocolate bar. Usually it happens as the day goes on, and most of all in the evening, at night, after tea. And it's probably the same for a lot of you. And that's because at the end of the day, our energy levels are low and we're tired. So we want like a little boost. So the one thing that you need to be aware of is the fact that the body does take time to register when you eat. So when I put food in my mouth, my body doesn't instantly register, you are now full. It takes time to digest. It roughly takes about 20 minutes, okay, or so I've researched. It takes around about 20 minutes to register. But imagine this. So imagine that you're feeling, your energy levels are low, and you go to grab some type of sugary snack. Because let's be real about it. When our energy levels are low and we're feeling our blood sugar levels are low, we don't think, right, I'm going to go and grab some chicken and veg, do we? Because it doesn't give us the same feeling. What we do is we grab for some high carb, high sugary foods. So imagine how much food that you can eat within that 20 minutes before your body's actually registered that your blood sugar levels are now satisfied, your hunger levels are now satisfied. Now, I could eat a shitload in 20 minutes. But having like a boiled little sugary sweet. So one of these humbugs, guys, humbugs. So one of them is 34 calories. So remember, with boiled sweets, you don't just stick them in your mouth and swallow them. You suck them. You suck them until there's nothing left. Okay? And for one of these, usually takes about, for me, about 5 minutes. But the time that you've had that in your mouth and you've had a slow release of sugar, then your decision making might be a little bit different. You might not then crave larger amounts of food, larger amounts of sugar, larger amounts of shit. See, if I went and had a humbug which was 34 calories, these little bad boys, 34 calories, versus, say, I go and grab a Mars bar, which is 260 calories, over a week, if I had a humbug every night, that would be 238 calories, versus a Mars bar every night, which is 1,820 calories. So to burn off the humbugs would take me about 20 minutes of pretty half-pace running. To burn off the Mars bars would take me around about 2.5 hours of running. So I'm saving around about 1,600 calories. So that's not far from £0.5 a week by just making the decision of substituting. So with regards to substituting, if you were having a Mars bar every night and it was 260 calories, then going to a humbug which is 34 might be too big of a jump. It might be too much of a jump. You might want a little bit more. So even if you drop from 260 calories to something that was maybe 100 calories. So what's 100 calories? So like a Freddo. But still, if you were consistently having a Mars bar every single night, when you had your cravings, you had your Mars bar every night, and now you drop to a Freddo, so you're saving 160 calories every single day. Now, I'm not saying that having chocolate is the best option, but what it is it's a better option to reduce your overall calories. And like I said, it's a progressive change that makes people successful. Everything that's dramatic, so when you go do these dramatic big changes and you're told you can't have this, you can't have that, all it makes you do, like I said, like in the restaurant, it makes you want it even more. So I just want you to think about two things. Number one, when do you crave the bad foods? And like I said, usually it's because your energy levels are low. So what I want you to think about is, are you eating throughout the day? Because a lot of people skip meals. And the problem with skipping meals is that, and if you're on the move, is that you're burning energy and you're not replacing it. So like I said, your blood sugar levels drop. We know how we feel. We feel irritable. We get a little bit shaky. All we do is crave sugar. Okay? And then what we tend to do is we tend to overeat. So when do you eat? You need to recognize the patterns of when do you eat the crap. And number two, what can you substitute it for? Now, instead of just cutting it completely out, What can you substitute it for? Is there a lower calorie option that you can now move to? And then we can do that for a period of time. Then we can move to a better calorie option. And then we keep progressing. Rather than just thinking, you can't have stuff, it's restricted. Because what happens is, people then say, I'm not going to have it Monday to Friday. And then what they do on a Saturday is they actually eat more in one day on a Saturday than they would have done if they'd just had a little bit every single day, Monday to Friday. Because we think it's restricted. We think we then get this big reward day. Okay, so think about what when you tend to eat bad stuff, the high sugary stuff, why your blood sugar levels are low, and why you get to that point. Because if we're eating little and often, we should be satisfied. And if you go in long periods of the day without food, maybe we start looking into putting food into there. And number 3, what substitutes can you have? So I'm talking about substituting a Mars bar for a humbug. But what can you substitute instead of removing out of your diet to get you close to where you want to be?